Hello and welcome to Shadow Patch Notes, the series where we take the latest patch and discuss all the hidden tweaks and changes that didn't quite make the spotlight. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And stick around until the end of the video to see how you can win a Gatac Syulen game package with LTI. And so, with a big shout out to our Patreons, let's jump right in. With the arrival of the massive cargo overhaul, we saw huge changes to the capabilities of our ship's cargo grids. You can now snap a much wider variety of items directly onto your ship. This leads to a lot of awesome gameplay opportunities, such as the ability to physically load ordnance onto your bay, and even replenish your A2 bombs mid-flight. You can also load up other vehicles, such as the ballista, much more reliably now that you can put missiles on the bay. Prospector bags can snap to the grids too. Although the process for refining ore remains unchanged. You still submit refining orders straight from your mining ships, then collect the boxes later. Ship components and weapons also snap to the grid. This makes collecting valuable items from salvage operations much more manageable, although CIG has yet to properly balance weapon sell prices. Another feature which quickly became a community favorite is the ability to snap your newly purchased furniture directly onto your ship's cargo grid. With this, you can make any ship into a dropship, or get even more creative.
Oh, that's hilarious. I guess you're wondering how I got here.
Can we have Genesis Starliner? We have Genesis Starliner at home. Genesis Starliner at home. The table on the Constellation series is finally functional. Just kidding. But you can install your own table here and cope about that Connie rework happening someday. Speaking of ship jank not getting fixed, the Cutlass Black tractor beam still isn't functional. A shame we didn't get this in time for this big cargo update, as ship tractor beams make these missions a lot easier. On that note, cargo missions are finally in, complete with reputation progression and everything. These missions take the risk out of hauling, and allow you to get right into the action with no monetary risk at all. These mission boxes are even marked as contracted, suggesting that selling them yourself would be far less lucrative of an option. I wonder how this will affect piracy. Let me know in the comments if any of you have tried it yet. These missions have you loading and unloading the cargo yourself, as you cannot use the auto-loading and unloading feature on these hauling mission boxes. Now, that being said, I have a cool tip that can help you move all of your mission cargo at once in the fastest and most efficient way possible. You can place all of your mission cargo into a large empty container from a cargo deck, like this 8SCU container here. Just place the empty 8SCU crate onto the elevator and lower it. Then open your crate to access its sub-inventory and drag your mission boxes inside of it. When you're done, you can bring the elevator back up and load the single box back onto your ship. Easy peasy. When you offload the box to the drop-off location, open up the crate's sub-inventory and pull the mission boxes out by dragging them up to the sub-inventory tab above the crate. This will place them in the warehouse. Once you've done that, you can lower the elevator to move the boxes back onto it. Now when you call the elevator back up, all of your boxes will be stacked perfectly for you on the lift, and you can send them back down to complete the mission. Obviously, this only works on missions that have 8 SCU of cargo or less, so keep that in mind. Some new commodities can be spotted in these missions as well, including silicone, pressurized ice, hydrogen, quantum fuel in liquid containers, ship ammunition, tin, and carbon. Curious to see if we can do commodity trading with any of these once Pyro releases. Distribution centers had a few hidden surprises added this patch. Killing friendly NPCs at these locations will now give you a crime stat as intended, which of course means your ship outside will get blown to smithereens. Lucky for us, the main lobby of distribution centers now have working ASOP terminals, where you can call in a whole new ship in the hangar to fly away in. Just be sure to punch it on your way out, as you'll probably be under heavy fire. When dropping off or picking up mission cargo at one of these locations, you can request landing to get a personal hangar and land safely inside to handle your cargo that way. The landing pads outside sometimes have weird Armistice bugs that may hinder your ability to use a tractor beam and keep you from completing your mission. Plus, this keeps you safe from getting attacked by NPCs or pirated by other players while moving boxes on the pad. Personal hangars have now arrived in Star Citizen, so you can finally have your own space to store cargo and other loose items that will persist between play sessions. There are a few important things you should know before diving in and choosing your home location. There are currently 2 hangar types in the game: AeroView hangars, which are available at Orison and New Babbage, and the Southland hangars, which are available at Area 18 and Lorville. The Southland hangars are also the default option for the space stations across Stanton. It's important to note that the AeroView hangars actually provide quite a bit of extra space on the sides, especially in the larger ones, so I'd recommend choosing a planet with one of those as your home. Now, it appears that your hangar size is tied to the largest ship you have pledged, unless that ship happens to be a JPEG image. In my case, I was granted one of the large hangars, even though I own a Banu Merchantman, an 890 jump size ship that notoriously still does not exist. So unless you own an 890 jump or a reclaimer, you probably won't be getting the extra large hangar. Also, in-game purchases do not affect your hangar size. So if you end up buying a larger ship in-game when you only have a starter ship pledged, you may not be able to call it out in your personal hangar. The different hangar sizes have different cargo elevator capacities. Small hangars hold 120 SCU, with a max container size of 16 on the grid. Medium hangars hold 224 SCU, large hangars hold 896, and the extra large hangars can hold a whopping 1120. Medium hangars and above have 2 freight elevators, one on each side. You can use both of these elevators simultaneously, which is convenient considering that party members can access their own inventories while in your hangar. Ships take over a minute to call up from inside the hangar, but they appear instantly if you call them out the old-fashioned way from the lobby. Ground vehicles can only be spawned from within the hangar though, so be sure to spawn those in first. Then you can drive it off to the side and call your main ship in. This turns what was a 20-minute ordeal down to about 2 minutes. To complement your new hangar home, you can also decorate it with furniture and other items. Furniture can be purchased at Dumper's Depot. If you pick New Babbage or Orison, you can find furniture down at your local Kelto. You have a wide array of choices, from large couches to ship manufacturer pilot seats. Many of the old school hangar Flair items are now functional, including the beloved fish tank. Most items retain their original old school look too. There are a few exceptions though, such as the jukebox, which cannot be moved. Also, the locker from another universe does not actually provide any storage yet. These assets clearly need a second pass, and I'm sure we'll get them soon, TM. I'm really looking forward to getting armor racks like the ones shown in this sneak peek video of the homesteads. The handheld tractor beams now work in your entire hangar, not just on the pad. Handy for moving your decorations around. Just keep in mind, we've had a recent nerf for the handheld tractor beams. Multi-tools can only carry up to 16 SCU crates. While in your hangar, you can even fire your FPS weapons as you please. This feature was prioritized to allow you to defend your hangar from intruders, but it has the added benefit of allowing you to create your own makeshift firing range. I personally like using Picos as targets. In the interest of making the newer gameplay loops more accessible, a load of utility ships were added to the rental kiosks across Stanton. Everything from useful cargo ships like the Connie Taurus to money printers like the Vulture and Reclaimer. The Argo Mole was also finally added as a rental option. Oh, and another salvage W. It is no longer illegal to damage, destroy, tow, scrape, or structurally salvage an unknown vehicle. It is also no longer illegal to tow unknown ships from inside of green zones. I have already seen a few people doing this around cities like Orison. A very welcome change.
He's doing it, God bless him.
Now for a little bad news. During the previous patch, the value of Jumptown drugs were nerfed significantly, as if participation wasn't low enough already. The maze boxes go for only 10k a box now, down from the previous 20k.
Look how they massacred my boy.
The item banks that we've seen across our landing zones are now functional, and you'll have to interact with them anytime you want to gear up, or if you forgot any last second items. That being said, I do have some tips for you to help save time throughout your play session. When purchasing small items at shops, such as food, ammo, or attachments, you can select your armor or backpack as the buy location from the drop-down menu at the top left of the screen. This will save you from unnecessary interactions with the item bank as long as you throw on a chest piece when you log on. You can take a page out of Tarkov's book and maximize your storage efficiency by placing kits inside of backpacks. You can double-click a container to open its sub-inventory on the elevator. Then load up a backpack with some meds and a multi-tool. Then drag it into a 1 SCU container along with an undersuit and whatever weapons and armor you desire. This way, when you get back to your hangar, you can just grab one of these meal prep boxes and you're good to go. This next tip is a real beauty. Have you been waiting for the day we get the coveted sell all function in Star Citizen? Well, you can actually do so right now with storage containers. Head on down to any cargo deck and grab yourself an empty storage container. Fill it up with loot on your travels and return back to the Leo station. Once stored, you can head down to the cargo deck and sell the full contents of the box in one shot. You make slightly less money than selling the item to their respective stores, but you can't beat the speed and convenience of selling with this method. This still works in 324, by the way. You'll just have to put the container onto the cargo elevator and transfer it down to the warehouse first. Then you can sell the full contents of it at the cargo deck in one shot. Be sure not to click quick sell or you'll end up selling only the box itself. So with this sell all trick in mind, it begs the question, how does looting with SCU containers work now that the old inventory system is gone? Well, it does still work, but there's a lot more friction involved with it now. In order to put loot into the SCU containers, you'll have to strip the bodies first and place all the items physically on the floor. Then you can open the crate and drag the items into the container's inventory one by one. Same thing goes for loot boxes. Obviously, it's not ideal, but at least it's still possible. Night vision scopes are in. You can find them at distribution centers on enemies and in loot boxes. Investigation missions usually take you to the hidden areas that have a good amount of loot boxes, so I'd start there. These optics have a designator of LL at the end, for low light. They're available on 1x to 4x optics, and do a good job of helping you see. Now let's get these on ships and visors, please. A couple of new abandoned outposts and forward operating bases were spotted in 324. There are over 40 of these new locations all around the planets and moons of Stanton. This one spot on Hurston called Broken Patch is truly hilarious. I see what you did there, Sig. I'll leave a link with the full list of locations down below. We got a much needed fix for low flying this patch. You shouldn't randomly blow up near the ground anymore. The command to quick swap your helmet to your hip using Alt-H has been improved to work with many more helmet types now. This will make eating quick and easy for you. Certain helmets, such as the Armistice helmet, still don't seem to work though. They also added a carry lowered keybind for FPS weapons. Just press Alt-R to lower your gun. This should be handy for pyro, where showing a lack of hostile intent around others could help resolve issues before they begin. New Babbage and Orison now have big flashing lights above the spaceports, kinda like the lights added to Area 18 last patch. No more getting lost on your way down to cities. In case you didn't know, Copion horns are sellable at admin shops as of last patch, but they are absolutely not worth your time. They fixed the Cryptokey store at Grimhex. You can buy the Tiger's Claw here again, no problem. Outposts around Stanton also have freight elevators now, each with 120 SCU cargo capacity, just like the small hangars. These also have a container size limit of 16, so small ships are incentivized to be used at these locations. The scrapyards like Brio's Breaker Yard are unique in that the elevator is an exposed hole in the ground, and only work one way. My first visit to Brio's Breaker Yard was surprising, as I had NPCs shooting at me while I tried to manually load a freelancer. Also, keep in mind, you cannot do the trick to load mission cargo boxes into an SCU container at scrapyards, since you cannot send empty boxes down into places like Brio's. As always, we had some interesting balancing changes in 324. Repeaters got a much needed damage buff, anywhere from 3 to 10% for most weapons. We saw an increased spread on cannons too, which had become the absolute meta post master modes. These changes should bring a bit more balance to ship loadouts. The Hornet finally received some much needed maneuverability nerfs. They reduced the Asperia Prowler's emissions to bring it more in line as a stealth dropship. The Anvil Hurricane nose health was finally increased from 3500 up to 10k, after being nerfed in the past for some reason. Now it should give RSI a run for its money again. And the Saber received a huge mobility buff, perfect for the Firebird. Blockade Runner is finally in, and it's actually a good bit of fun. The mission essentially simulates a PvE version of a piracy hit, as you track down outlaw vessels and incapacitate them. Then transfer the cargo to your ship and deliver it back to the planet's orbital station. Overall, it's a huge step up from the Nine Sails lockdown. 324 is very likely our last major patch before 4.0. The legendary update which will finally bring in server meshing, a whole new star system in the form of Pyro, and most importantly, the Space Cow. And that'll do it for this episode of Shadow Patch Notes. So, were any of these changes news to you? And what do you think of the cargo updates? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you're interested in the Gatac Syulen giveaway, just be a subscriber here on YouTube and head on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the5star. where you can find the link to enter. Come on by and say hi. Alright everybody, I'll catch you on the flip flop. Peace out.